This video is for the Walden COM 1003C Introduction to Mass Communication students who might be struggling with understanding some of the concepts you have learned so far in this course. It is very easy to get confused with all the different terms and how they relate to this course compared to how similar terms might be used in the everyday world. We will start here with the idea that the medium is the message, developed by Dr. Marshall McLuhan. You read an article about this idea for week 2. Now let's break down all the concepts in that article and some from your textbook as well. So Marshall McLuhan is a Canadian academic who became famous for writing Understanding Media in 1964. The medium is the message, quote, refers to that idea that every medium has its own effects, which are in themselves a message. And we'll talk more about this as we go along. But the important thing is to first make sure we understand some important terms for this class. Those terms are message, medium, and media. So you need to understand the differences between these. Let's start with media. It covers the most area and has a lot to cover. So our very basic definition. Media is the plural form of what transports the message. We will explain a bit more when we get to describing medium. But basically what you need to remember is media is the plural form of medium. So all the different ways a message can be transported, and you see a bunch of different ways here, all these different pictures. All the different ways a message can be transported from the sender to the receiver can be considered as media. It can get confusing because then we put different terms in front of the word media, such as mass media, what this class is all about. So while there are many forms of media, we are only concerned with mass media in this class. Mass media includes more traditional forms of media such as television, newspapers, radio, and magazines. There's some other new media forms that can be considered mass as well. So let's talk about new media next. New media, or also called emergent media, is the use of digital technologies, such as a computer or the internet or your smartphone, a tablet, and using these digital technologies to produce mass communication. It is easy to get confused here because perhaps someone used a camera that produced a video for TV, but then they also put that video on YouTube. So which media was used, you might be asking? Mass or new? And the answer is actually both. When it was aired on TV, the video was coming from a mass medium. But when it was on YouTube, it was coming from a new medium. So let's talk about the types of new media that are also mass media. But not all new media are also mass media, and that's important to remember. When the message you send on new media could be seen by anyone in the world, it is an example of mass media. So, texting a call or calling your friend on your smartphone, or any phone for that matter, posting your status on Facebook, or emailing a group of people are all using new media, but they are not examples of mass media because they are only going to a friend on Facebook or a group on email. They're not going to everyone in the whole wide world. So, these kinds of examples are not something that you can use as an example for any assignment in this class. But posting a video on YouTube is an example of using new media as mass media because anyone in the world can log on to YouTube and look at all the videos there as long as you did not make your video private. If you made it private, then it's just a form of new media that is not mass media. Okay, but then we bring in social media. So we put that word social in front of media. And where does it fit in, you might be asking? Social media is a form of new media because it is on the internet. But some forms of social media are more mass media than other forms. For instance, like I said before, when you post on Facebook, the message is only going to those whom you are friends with. It's not going out to the whole world. So that is not a type of mass media. But a type of social media that is new media, that is mass media, is if you posted something on the social media called Reddit. That goes into a form where anyone in the world can see it. So that is considered a type of mass media. So now that we've covered what media is, let's go to what medium is. Medium, remember, is the singular form of media. So medium is the singular of media. Thus, the medium is the specific channel that is being used to send the message from sender to receiver. So all newspapers in the world are still called media because they are plural. But a single newspaper, such as the New York Times, is just a medium. It's the singular form. The same thing goes for a single magazine. The Oprah magazine is a medium, whereas all magazines are media. Same for radio stations, media, but a single radio station, the WKYC 1100, is a medium, and so on. Okay, now that we understand those two terms, media and medium, let's take a look at the message. And what are we talking about when we use the term message in this class? The first idea that might come to your mind when you're here or see the word message is a text message, because we all use that so much in this day and age. But yes, that message can be used that way. That word message can be used that way. But that is for when you are talking about other kinds of communication, not mass communication, which is what we are talking about in this class. There is a descriptor word in front of the word message, and that descriptor word here is text. So text message or instant message is another example. Both texting and IMing are examples of interpersonal communication using new media. It could also be small group if you sent a message to a group of people. But these are not examples of mass communication because not everyone in the world could come back and see those messages that you sent to a friend or to a group of friends. So once again, in this class we talk about mass communication messages. The type of message we talk about is not referring to the actual words written in a commercial, a TV show, a Reddit article, a newspaper article, etc. The mass communication message is the idea that all the words and imagery in a mass medium product conjure in the minds of the audience members who are witnessing the mass medium project. Let me read that again. The mass communication message is the idea that all the words and imagery in a mass medium product, such as a commercial, so all the words and imagery, what does that conjure in the minds of the audience members who are watching that commercial, is basically what that is saying. But let me give you some examples in the next section here. So, what is this message? What is the message in this video? And I'm going to play the message in this video now. Unfortunately, we can't play the sound of the video for the way that this whole video works that I'm making here will not allow me to play sounds in these videos. But this video is a commercial, a Coke commercial, and I will let you go through once again. You won't be able to hear it, unfortunately. So, not all the words spoken in the voiceover, and not even the slogan at the end, the Coke side of family, the mass communication message takes everything in this video together and gives it a sort of symbolic label. The images shown, the words spoken in the voiceover, and the slogan at the end all say something together like Coke brings family together. But those words were never actually spoken or written in the commercial. But it's the idea behind all of the images and that wording right there and all the words that were spoken in the commercial that makes us think, oh, Coke brings family together. Another example here, in an article in like a newspaper or magazine or an online forum article such as an online website for a TV station or radio station, and they post an article there, it is often a little bit easier to determine the overall message because it is sometimes given to you as the headline, like we have here, or the subheadline, as we have here. So this example here is an article that came from Slate.com magazine, which is an online magazine, and it was an article about faking a pricey bottle of wine is a lot easier than you'd think. Well, that subheadline pretty much tells us everything that the article is about. That is what the message of the article is about. Now, the actual whole article goes into a lot more detail, but the basic message behind the whole article you can get from this headline and this subheadline. But then commercials and other advertisements tend to have messages that are more symbolic. Do we need even another example? Consider a favorite American television sitcom, The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show is an example of a mass medium production. The media was TV. The medium was the NBC station. The message then would change each week because each week had a theme, and often if it was a lesson that one of the characters learned. In the scene that's depicted here, and I'm not going to play it for you since you can't hear the words, but you might remember it, Theo got his ear pierced, and his dad is trying to find out what it is that Theo's hiding, and the message is not everything that Theo and his dad say and do in this scene. But the scene itself conveys the idea that kids do silly things, and it is usually best for them to come clean to their parents about the mistakes they made. So that's the message behind the whole half-hour episode, is this just little idea that kids do silly things, they get into trouble, they should come clean to their parents, and, and then face the consequences and learn a good lesson. So those kinds of things help drive a whole sitcom or a whole episode for any type of show. So we come to the end here and we're thinking, okay, well, what exactly did McLuhan mean by the medium is the message? The medium is the channel itself, and it can evoke meaning in people. For instance, as we begin to lose the printed newspaper and more of our newspapers go to all online forums, many people from older generations are feeling nostalgic for their newspaper that was once delivered to their front door. That medium, a newspaper, evokes a feeling of great times of the past. Thus, it carries this message of a good feeling in just the format, not the words written on it. So that medium, the newspaper, is the message. The message is this good feeling of times past. So that's one way to look at it. But McLuhan goes a little bit further. Specifically, he said, the medium is the message because it is the medium that shapes and controls the scale and the form of human association and action. So, let's break this down a little bit. Thus, any one medium, such as that specific newspaper, will shape what the person reading it thinks and does based on what he or she read. That newspaper, that medium, has many people, thoughts, and ideas behind it. And then a completely different newspaper has a completely different set of people, thoughts, and ideas behind it. So we might have the New York Times as one newspaper with different people, thoughts, ideas behind it. And then we have the LA Times, which has a totally different set of people, thoughts, and ideas behind it. And so one medium sends one message, the other medium might send a different message. Thus, the medium itself, with all the people, the ideas, and the thoughts behind it, determines the message. And that is also what he meant by the medium is the message. And that's the end of this video. I hope it has helped you to understand